Hi guys, it's Laurie Lyons here. I've been asked by the 7DS people to put together a little video, a little bit about myself and a little bit about my participation in the project of the Slayers Anthology, which I was very excited to be a part of. There's the cover. Yay! It's beautiful. Little bit about me. So I've always written all the time, all my life, and just got published my first novel about 2.5 years ago. It's called Feather, and it's a part of a trilogy, Feather, Gates, and Faith, and those are with the Ring of Fire Publishing. I also have two short stories out with Little Bird Publishing House in London, and this is my first time being asked to do a short story for the 7DS people, which was very exciting. I was really, really happy to be asked to do the project. A little bit about me. I live in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and shortly I will be moving to Halifax, Nova Scotia, which is also in Canada. It's just on the other side of it, and I'll be living there for about a year and then coming back here. I have two kids. They're rotten. No, they're fantastic. And they're right now at day camp, which is why I can sit here and have a conversation with you. And I have a gorgeous, fabulous husband who does nothing but read my work and tell me how great I am. So life is good. When I was asked to do the Slayers short story, at first I was like, yeah, absolutely, because I never turn down work. I write articles, I write blog posts, I'll write anything, anywhere, anytime. But after I said yes, I was like, what have I done? Because slaying is not my gig. I write a lot of horror. I do write a lot of paranormal. I can even write some science fiction, romance, but blood, gore, guts, streaming rivers of goo and blood and guts, and it's not my gig. So after I said yes, I then went, oh my goodness, what have I done? But I started thinking about it, and the cool thing about this anthology is that they didn't want a regular Slayer story. Don't you dare slay a dragon. Don't you dare slay a werewolf. Don't you dare slay a vampire. Find something unique. Find something cool. And all of the authors have found something pretty cool to slay in their stories. So I was immediately intrigued. And so I started doing a little bit of research, and the best place to come up with story ideas, I think, is the public library. So I headed up and I started finding stories, and I started looking through fables and different old myths and stuff of something unique that no one had really thought of yet. And I came upon the story, the myth of the changeling. Now, a changeling is this old wives' tale where what would happen is your baby was born with some sort of deformity or any sort of problem, or if they were stillborn, the midwife would immediately say, well, it's a changeling. And back in the day when midwives weren't that educated and some of them had no idea what they were doing, and communities were smaller and there was a lot more family inbreeding, should you say, more and more children were born with more and more problems. And the midwives trying to kind of deflect that heat upon them, and of course, at some point, avoid some sort of witchcraft argument, they would immediately say, well, it's a changeling. And changeling is when the goblins come in and steal your baby and replace your baby with an evil baby, a goblin baby, or a non-perfect baby. And they have taken your baby and either eaten it, or they have taken your baby and raised it as their own. And it was a myth that kind of went on. There have been like a few Hollywood stories about the swapping of children and the swapping of babies, and that's a changeling. Originally, the story was about goblins, and I really thought that was cool. That what does happen to the babies? What if this was true? What if this was a thing? What if this actually was happening? And these new babies were living the lives of the goblin babies were living the lives of the regular babies. So, but then at the same time, I was like, well, I can't slay babies. I'm not a Slayer writer, and I'm especially not a baby Slayer writer because that's a little much. So I came up with the idea of Rebecca, and she is a young girl who doesn't really know anything about herself. Her mother died when she was an infant. And she meets a woman and one of her teachers actually, or pretending to be one of her teachers, and discovers that she is a changeling slayer and that the world is filled with these swap outs. And they grow up and they live completely normal lives, except for the fact that the actual human is being held in captivity somewhere. We aren't detail oriented, with the goblins. So Rebecca learns how to slay changelings. I really like the story. I like the way it turned out. I like my characters. I really like the ending. The ending was just, it gives me shivers when I read it, so I love it. I hope you love it. Do go and get your copy of Slayers. 7 authors, 7 stories. Awesome stuff. Really, really, really good. So go through it and see all the unique things that we decide to kill because we're writers and we can do that. So this is Laurie Lyons. Definitely check me out at www.laurielyons.ca, and I will see you all soon. Lots of love.